Hello and welcome to ReginaldESQ. I'm Underhook and this is the next in my series featuring the armour changes to tanks in patch 9.13 World of Tanks. So in this episode we're featuring the T30 Tier 9 American tank destroyer, which has had, well, a buff and a nerf, probably overall a nerf I'd say. So let's, on the right hand side of your screen is a pre-recording from version 9.12 and on the left is the live version of Tanks GG. I like to use Tank Inspector when I can, but Tank Inspector had quite severe glitches on some tanks in 9.12, so I had to use Tanks GG for this one. So I've started the recording and let's get the tank in a similar position. You can see there the lower plate that was 70mm still is 70mm. The upper plate is also the same at 102mm. The whole machine gun area was 70mm and is still 70mm, so there's no real change there. The upper plate does extend a little higher in the middle. They've done that with the T29 as well, and the armour around here is fairly similar. Slight change I think in the thickness there, but where you're looking there at the turret frontally, it has had a bit of a buff. I'll just go back a little bit. There we go. You can see there the corner edge there is 127mm from the front. Well, here now I've got 139mm, so they have thickened the armour there on the side of the tank just a little bit. I'll try and get the same angle as I've got on that one. So yeah, you can see there it is thicker now. We'll progress along here and you can see as we get in now it goes to 176mm in the pre-recording. Well, we now jump to 215mm, so a substantial buff to the frontal side areas and will be great at repelling tier 9 and 10 TDs. So that is a buff to the armour, and it did need it because having the same having that armour at tier 9 doesn't sort of hold up like it did on the T29 at tier 7. Getting into the bluey looking area here, pretty much now we have 203 over 203. They've done this with the T29 as well. It used to be 203 spaced arm over 176, so that is stronger than it used to be, that little patch there. But once you get into the meat of the mantlet, it is 279mm, as same as it used to be, and pretty much the mantlet is the same as it was. It's just the edges are a little bit tougher than they used to be. So overall, you could say there most of the turrets had a bit of a buff. Where it's had a bit of a nerf is the area I'm going to move into in a minute. Now you can see the area here above the turret. This has actually had a buff, and it has on the T29 as well. It's gone from 176mm to 203mm. So, you know, if they're aiming for your cupola, it drops a little low and hits here. Well, that is actually stronger than it was before. It's the area above that is the problem. When we get into the green area there, now you can see that used to be 51mm thick, which is a little weak, but you know, it was a small target and wasn't too bad. But now that's been reduced to 38mm. Now that is quite critical because, well, 120mm guns will auto pen that, and there's a lot of 120mm guns at tier 9, 10, 8. A lot of 120mm guns. Anything 120 above will auto pen that area. So if you basically decide, oh, I'm going to aim at the cupola because that's only, was it 52mm? If it drops a little low where it may have ricocheted off before, it's not going to ricochet now, it's going to auto pen. So that's quite a large area on the roof to be able to auto pen, and considering the turret is the only strong part of the tank, well, it's not good, is it? Alright, let's keep the recording going. So it used to be 51, that area. So that's a real issue there in my mind. We'll go into the rest of the cupola a little bit more from the side-on view because it is a little bit easier to see, I think, from the side-on view. Now the side of the tank has been strengthened. So this area here is 76. It always was 76, and the tracks provide 20 spaced armor. That's the same as it always was. But the rear half of the tank back here used to be 51mm. Now that's 76 as well. They've also done this on the T29, so the tank is capable of side scrapping better than it used to. However, that's going to work better now for the T29, but for the T30 really it couldn't side scrap effectively before anyway, because that's not enough armor. Even 76 isn't really enough armor at this sort of a tier, but for the T29 it's going to work out fairly well, I think. So this frontal area here, we can see once again now that is thicker now at 215 versus the 176. And as we move back a little bit, we go into, so from there 215 it goes to this 139, which is better than the 127 it used to be. So it's definitely had a bit of a buff to that part of the turret. And the lower part of the cupola was 127 millimeters, and that's now 178. So the lower part of the cupola is significantly strengthened, but the roof is significantly weakened. And the upper part of the cupola was 51 millimeters and is indeed, I think, still 51 millimeters. Yeah, it is. Whereas on the T29, now, that's now 38 millimeters. So that's been severe nerfed on the T29, but they left it alone on the T30, which is fair enough since this is a tier 9 tank. Now the lower half was 19 millimeters. Now it's only this tiny little bit here that's 19, and the rest of it is 51, the same as just the upper was before. So it's slightly stronger from the back. Not that it's going to make any difference at tier 9. They'll just blast through that anyway. The rear of the turret, 102 millimeters, same as it was before. The top deck at 38, same as it was before, and the top of the turret 38, and the 38 top of the cupola as well. So if we just move on to that, so we can see 40 mils here, and it's, sorry, 38, that's the same. It's when we get to this further, that area there. You see there was 51, and we're looking here, it's 40 millimeters. So that can be shot from the front, and I think a lot of shots that aim for the cupola, if they drop below, will hit this, and they will auto pin. So yeah, I have to say, because this tank needs to operate hull down, because they've weakened it hull down, I'd say it's got to be overall a nerf to the tank. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe to ReginaldESQ. Have fun.